Hey, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really good, and I think that comes back to, even like you said, your furniture placement, where you're going to charge your laptop. You would only know these things if you've done that initial client discovery call, right? So you're going to find out what they do for a job, do they go on the computer, do they blah 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 blah, and you capture all that information, and then that builds a story of your pre-start essentially.
Welcome, property investors. This is the Building in Perth podcast. If you're a property investor or you're curious about investing in property in Western Australia, this is the podcast for you. The reason for that is we're not going to hold back. We're not going to sugarcoat things. We're certainly not going to bullshit you, and we're going to exploit everything that you need to know. There's a lot of negative press at the moment in WA regarding building, and it doesn't have to be. So what we're going to do is help you navigate through that bullshit and create your wealth free of charge. We're just giving you this information. Every month we're going to have special guests on who are industry professionals, and then we're going to release an episode every single Monday, so you're not going to miss anything. So please stay tuned, like, subscribe so you never miss anything, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to the Building in Perth podcast. Today I'm extremely excited to introduce a brand new pre-start consultant, and I'm going to call her B because that's what you've instructed me to call you. Welcome and thank you for joining, mate. How are you today?
I'm great, Chris. Thanks for having me. Thank you so much.
That's okay. So a bit of a background. I've followed B on Instagram for some time. I've reached out because her content's amazing. You also have your own podcast, which is really cool. Hopefully we can collaborate and share our experiences together. Your clients can find out about us and my clients can find out about you. But mate, with all new guests that I get on the podcast, I'd just like to go back to the start. Tell me a bit about yourself. What's your background? Where did it all begin?
Yeah. Where do we start? So I'm a qualified architectural designer. So I've got a diploma in building sciences and I've got an honors degree in interior architecture. So I've always known that I'm going to end up in this industry. My parents are also have always been property developers. I'm originally from Botswana, so I grew up seeing commercial, residential developments and all that. I've always loved it. So I could say it started there. Came to Australia 15 years ago. I was meant to just come do my master's in architecture, which I quit after a semester. And then I deferred to doing an honors degree in interior architecture. So 15 years ago, I did that. I was meant to leave after 4 years, never happened. And then I just found myself in the industry. So the first job, leaving uni, not knowing what I was going to do, because my whole idea was I'm going to finish and then go back to Botswana and work with my parents in property developing. Didn't really happen because I stayed in Perth for love.
Yeah.
Luckily, we're still married. We're married with 2 kids, so it was good. But so I applied straight from uni, got a job. My first job, I'm going to name drop, was with 𝗟𝗶 Constructions or 𝗟𝗶 Homes.
Yeah, down in Rocky.
Yeah, so I lived in Vic Park and I drove all the way from Vic Park to Rockingham for a whole year. I was like, I'm determined to make sure that my parents don't force me to go back to Botswana yet. So I got a job, so I went for the interview. They had applied for a pre-start consultant role. I had no idea what it was. I just knew that I have architecture and I have design experience. And I thought, let's just see what it's about. Met the director at the time. His name, I think it's still John, I believe.
John is.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in like 12 years. So that would be interesting. So met him, we had a chat, and he just said, look, I think you'd be great for this role. I said, I don't know what it is. And he said, that's okay, pre-start consultant, you know how to read plans, you've got a big, strong understanding of color, you got this, you've got people skills, you can do this, we'll just train you. And I was like, okay, great. So that's how I started my my time in the building industry in Perth. I was with 𝗟𝗶 Homes for about a year. Amazing experience. I did everything because I had this whole big skill set. So I did pre-start, and then some days he's like, do you want to design this display home? So I was like, sure, design the display home. And, you know, and I'd spend more time in John's office presenting these display homes, and he was like, yeah, no, go back to the drawing board. You know, it was pretty interesting. And then that's when I started to realize that, you know, as much as I was being trained to be a pre-start consultant, I was also getting a lot of experience in like the actual architectural design part, which was good because I had that skill set. And I think he also realized that I was getting bored a little bit. They was a bit like, oh, okay, so what else are we doing? You know, and I got great support from the team. The sales manager at the time was really good as well, because he was like, look, let's go to display homes. Let's go see what you like. I did a little bit of contracts, understanding building contracts in there. So I think it was a great opportunity for me to work for a small, passionate, family-owned business that allowed me to sort of feel out all parts of the pre-construction. So that's how it started.
Was the sales manager Martin by any chance?
Yes.
Martin Ferris? Yeah, he's a good mate of mine. Very good mate of mine.
Yes, I remember him. I think it was was he a sales consultant?
Possibly back then, if we're going that far back, but now he's he's a great guy. He's a very good mate of mine. I work closely with 𝗟𝗶, believe it or not. Yeah.
Yeah, so if they're listening to this and watching, I'm still talking about you, so thank you.
Of course they will be. Of course they will be.
Yeah.
So that's really good. So they've obviously allowed you to grow. So you've came in as a pre-start consultant, but they've seen more of your skill set and then utilized that. But that's a big compliment for getting you to help design display homes.
It was really good. I think it was their first, one or two display homes. The first one was in 𝗟𝗶, when 𝗟𝗶 was just starting to become, you know, like before 𝗣𝗶 and all that. And I think the other one was in 𝗏𝗏. So that was like when Honeywood was starting up. So that was a long time ago.
𝗏𝗏, by the way, that's right.
Yeah. So yeah, you're close. You're close to me.
Yeah, that's right.
So I did that with 𝗟𝗶. After a year, I honestly feel, because I was just like fresh out of uni, I wasn't really my idea of what I had when I graduated was I was going to have my own business. Like, it's never been, but because now I had found a reason to stay in Perth, I needed to prove to my parents that I'm going to stay here, not just for love, but to do something with my life. Getting a job had to be the next step for me. So it was quite good. So I did that. And then after a year, I left because I was like, oh, I don't know, this is not what I envisioned. And then I saw, an in-house designer and tile consultant role for Install Ceramics, which was absolutely amazing. Again, Paul and Anna at Install Ceramics were like my mentors. We're still really good friends now. They still mentor me in business. All my clients, I use Install Ceramics 10 years down the track. So it's been good. Joined the team there. And that was really good as well, because it started as a tile consultant role. After meeting, they kind of went, hang on, you've got all the skill set. How about we use you as an in-house designer, and then you can help renovations and you can do all the custom builder selections. And it was like, okay, again, I was kind of understanding what this pre-start is, because pre-start is not defined. It's just very blurry.
It is, yeah. And that's good, because that was my next question. So we may as well go straight into that.
It's just such a weird thing, because I feel it's one of the most important parts of the building journey, but there's just this veil around what pre-start is. I have my own conspiracy theory why there's a veil around it, but we'll get to that later. Yeah.
Good.
So that evolved from Install. I was with them for about 2 years, then moved into, I worked for Ventura for a little bit, client liaising, Ventura Invest and Develop, client liaising, pre-start, again, found myself in that role. And I almost got their display designer role. Then I think around that period, I thought, oh, this is not really, again, I don't think this is what I want to do. I was going in and out of, like, I was liking it pre-start, but I was not liking it. And I think it's because how it's portrayed at the beginning is not what it is when you're in the role. So
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, the role is humongous. It involves, you need so many skill sets to be able to do it. And I think if you go in thinking it's all colors and selections and beautiful things, you're going to be disappointed very quickly, which I found myself being disappointed in and out of roles, because I enjoyed the part where I could talk to the people and do the display and do the design and do the beautiful stuff. But then the other back end of the job, I hated. I didn't like it. So it was that. So Ventura Invest and Develop was good. I left. We had, my husband and I had a second child. So I was like, all right, what am I going to do? And then after a year of our second baby was born, had a great opportunity with a smaller custom builder called Home Zone Building. I don't know if you
Yep.
remember Home Zone before.
This is funny. So you're talking about Venture ID. I'm friends with Terry Thurston, and probably Martha Massey at the time was your boss. Home Zone ID. Home Zone ID. I worked for about 6 years as well. Yeah, that's actually ridiculous. Yeah, I know, ridiculous. When I was on the tools as a carpenter, I was their main carpenter south of the river. So that's funny. The
No
three
ways.
builders that you've mentioned, I'm in collaboration and friends with them all. That's how small Perth is.
Amazing. How small? I always say the building industry is so small. You may have even been the chippy who did my house, because I built with Home Zone.
If it was good, then it was me for sure.
Oh yeah, it was very good.
Then it was
The house. Also,
yeah,
you, Martin.
Martin, and Ewan was the
And Ewan was and Jeff.
yeah, that's right.
And what's his name? The sales guy. Paul.
This could
Paul.
6 or 7 years ago, I was with Home Zone when I was still on the tools, obviously.
Same. That was like that. Yeah, for me, it was like 5 years ago as well. And when they shut down, sadly, I think I was the last man standing with Martin, going, "What are we doing now?"
Yeah, what happens now? That's really good. So you came in and out of different roles, but I guess what you've done in that time is collected all that information of what you want to do and what you can do better for clients, right? So you've seen how other builders deal with clients in the pre-start, which again, very vague, as we've said, but you've obviously picked up pieces from 3 amazing companies and then collaborated.
I forgot to name drop one last one. Webb & Brown Neves.
So this was unscripted if I say I'm friends with them as well, right? So no, I don't know that. Obviously on the back.
I know, the ABN group. Yeah. So
I just
that was the last that was the last role I did with them before starting my business. I was with Webb & Brown Neves, and then moved to Home Collective in Leaderville as their team leader, pre-start and team lead at Home Collective. So
that's unbelievable, the Home Collective, right? That's unbelievable. Yeah, but in 15 years, that's not a lot, like that's over 12 years. Yeah, that's over a long period of time. But the Home Collective is unbelievable for pre-start consultants. Do you still use it now?
Not really.
No.
Not really.
Okay.
Because for a number of reasons. Because my majority of my clients that I do actual pre-starts and home design for come from other custom builders. There's a little bit of that conflict of interest if I did that. So
yeah.
No. But I have been back there. They're lovely. I still keep ties with some of the people at Home Collective. It was a beautiful place. It was bittersweet to leave, but it was time. And when I told I told Jeff, the general manager of Webb & Brown Neves, that I'm leaving, and he just went, "Do I look surprised? Of course you were going to do this." It was just a matter of when, and I didn't want it to come this soon, And I also had a chat with 𝗟𝗏𝗪𝗀𝗀, the GM for Home Collective, and she's like, "Yep, I saw it coming, and you're going to be great." So it was I think you can see someone is really passionate about what they're doing, and you can tell that it's just a matter of time that they're going to start their own business. I've always talked about it. So yeah, it was time.
That's good. So in saying that, so that's your background and where you've came from and your experiences and your qualifications. So when I have a client and I'm going to hand them over to you for pre-start, we work in conjunction as a team, I guess, but you'll deal with the client. So what are you going to do for the client, right? So they've came to you, they've had a PPA, they've got the plan sorted to a degree. Hopefully there's no more structural changes, but now they've got the plan sorted to a degree.
Yeah.
I put them in contact with you. Talk to me. How long does that process take, and how far in and out do you go with the building journey with the client?
Yeah, so it really depends. So there's two streams of this, right? So if a client is sent through to me by a builder, you're the builder, and I should mention, I only work with a small group of builders.
Yeah.
So
and
the reason being, I want my builder my client, or my builders who are my clients, I want their clients to experience what a real design and pre-start meeting is. It's not about how quickly you can pick something and da da da. So if you're a builder and you're one of my builders and you send your clients to me, I normally get involved really early. So they try and involve me in before the client even signs the final building contract, because with my architectural eye and skill set, chances are there are going to be a few tweaks on the plan. So it makes sense for them to get me in as soon as they can. So one, to make sure we capture those changes early on. And then secondly, so that I can build good rapport with the client. You know, the pre-start and design process of the build is such a personal journey that I find the only reason a lot of people get upset at that stage is because you're just walking in, you don't know the person you're sitting across. They're not even trying to get to know you. And the next thing they say, so what color is your wall?
That's right. Yeah,
you know,
so true.
So most of the custom builders I work with, and most of them are very custom because I'm very picky with who I want to work with. I want to work only with someone who runs their own business with high level of ethics and values. So customer first. I work only with builders who are very transparent. I want a human approach to the building process as well. So the clients are not numbers. So usually the first meeting, you would actually give me a call and say, hey, I've got this client, give him a call. And that's what I always do. I'll reach out, give him a call. I pick up the phone. I don't email first, introduce myself. They get a sense of who I am. And then I arrange a video call like this so we can meet before the meeting. That's sort of like my client brief meeting. This is an opportunity for me to ask them who they are, what they like. I sent them a list of questions, like a little questionnaire, and I tell them you got to do your homework before we meet. And so there'll be questions like, what do you not like about your current home? What do you like about your current home? What do you hope to get? How many people live in the house? Do you have hobbies? What are your hobbies? By doing that, it just helps me create a very clear understanding of who they are. Once that meeting is done, I touch base with you, the builder, again, and I go, hey, Chris, so I've had a chat with Sophie and Paul or whatever. This is what I gathered. What do you think in terms of budget? What do you want me to do? What should I not do? And I involve you as well because you are the one who met them right at the beginning of the sales process. So the worst part is getting to pre-start and then being shown all the glitz and glam, and then you're told you can't afford them. So we work really closely together. Once I've gotten a sense of what they want, I touch base with you. Is this correct? Am I on the right track? Then you would then go, well, yes, be mindful. Sophie can be kind of reserved, doesn't like to talk too much. Paul doesn't really care, so don't upset him about asking him. And then I go, great, no problem. Go back to arranging. So I normally set aside 2 to 3 meetings to do the whole pre-start consult. So I don't like overloading the client. It's a lot to take in.
That's really good. I just want to interrupt there because that's so good. A lot of the project builders slam this into like a 3 or 4 hour window, and it's so overwhelming. There's so many things
insane.
It's crazy. So that's really, I'm glad you said that. That's a big point of it.
Absolutely, thank you. And I honestly will customize it depending on the builder. So even, and I force it because some of my builders will say, no, they're pretty all right. They just need help with colors, and I'm like, no, we're gonna book 2 meetings. I don't care what you say. 100%, you know, because I find that and I only limit my meetings to 3 to 4 hours per meeting. That's enough. And the first hour of the first meeting, I always encourage the builder to come. So you would be invited along. We'll probably have a platter. We'll have some champagne, and that's just sort of like, I always say this job needs you to have human intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah.
You cannot just walk in and run the show.
No, I totally understand.
Yeah.
That's really
so it's a lot of warming you up, and I feel like the more you trust me, then I'm going to get a lot more information from you, which means that your home design and your selections are going to be exactly what you want, not what I'm assuming, you know. So so the first meeting, you're going to be there, we're going to talk. They're going to I'm going to sort of like repeat the things that they told me from the first meeting, go through the things. You're there, and I would have probably given you a heads up. So sometimes the builder and I can go, hey, look, what they want is really going to blow their budget. So let's just kind of make them understand it. So at that meeting, it's to sort of say, all right, guys, like this is what you really want, but in reality, Chris is not going to be able to deliver that because of da da da. However, I've got some options that might work. You know. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That's when you throw me under the bus, basically, right? That's when you say, I can give you everything you want, but Chris is that.
But Chris doesn't want you to have it.
Because I'm there, I have no defense. I just, That's really good, honestly. I've worked with pre-start consultants my whole life, and generally, it's the client is rushed in, rushed out, and it's here's my selection. That's it. It's not a positive experience. So I'm really glad, like you're changing the way it should be done. To be honest, you know.
Oh, absolutely, and that's been that was the whole motivating factor of why I started my business. Because I've got the Pre-Start Studio, which focuses wholly on pre-start education and like getting clients who come directly to me who are not sent by my builders to get ready for their pre-start with project builders. So it's based on education and understanding what they should expect. And then Nomu Architectural Design Studio is my other business. That is where I flex my architectural and design muscle. That's the one that I give my custom builders and my commercial clients more of that customized experience for their clients. So I really needed to have a clear separation. I've also, because of this passion of making pre-start more of what it should be, I've also recently collaborated with Master Builders Australia, and I offer fundamentals to pre-start training through Master Builders. So this is for anyone who's thinking of being a pre-start consultant and is where I was 12 years ago, not knowing what you need to do. This is for the owner builder who can't afford to hire a pre-start consultant, and you're sort of doing it all yourself, kind of, you know. So, but you want to understand if you've got the right processes. What is the pre-start? Are you missing things at that point? So so I have a course that I offer through Master Builders called Fundamentals to Pre-Start. I really didn't like the fact that pre-start was one of the only roles in the whole building journey that's not governed. Because like anyone can just jump off the tree and say, yeah, I'm just going to be a pre-start consultant.
Yeah, I know.
And it really hurt me, because that's where a lot of clients get a bitter taste in their mouths about the building journey. Because you can always tell when someone is bluffing. You can always tell when someone doesn't know what they're talking about. And yet that's your one last opportunity to actually create a home. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do something about this. I approached Master Builders and I said, why can we not do this? They said, all right, pitch your idea. It went through, and then I got CTF funding for it. So builders who are part of Master Builders can get their teams trained. Hi, Master Builders.
That's me. Oh, I'm part of the Master Builders group.
Oh, there you go. I am too. So that's what the Pre-Start Studio kind of does. Focuses on education, and then Nomu is if you want me to do it for you and give you that custom approach. Happy to do it for you. Yeah.
Awesome. How good is that? That's really good. That's exciting. One question, when we've touched over pre-start and all the different selections, what about electrical? Because some builders are funny with electrical. Do you take control of that as well?
Oh
Okay, that
yes,
is
there's
good.
no way I will not do a pre-start consultation without electrical. I have worked for builders in the past who separated it, and it's for me, it doesn't make sense. And I think I spoke about it last week on my episode, on my podcast episode, Fridays at Home. I talked about what a pre-start meeting is and what you should not believe about what a pre-start meeting is. So the most
Good.
important thing is electrical. It ties everything together. I guess from
Yeah.
an architectural design background, for me to even start asking you where you want your PowerPoints to be, I need to go through your furniture placement. Where are you going to put your couch? Where are you going to sit and charge your laptop while you're on the so
Good, yeah.
it all comes in, it's all one big journey. That's why I fail to understand how you can separate the two when it's all part of the home, it's all part of home design. But then again, I do understand why people do that, because if you don't have a good understanding of architecture and design, you just don't think it matters. So
No, that's right.
yeah.
Hey,
So
that's awesome. Yeah, that's really good, and I think that comes back to, even like you said, your furniture placement, where you're going to charge your laptop. You would only know these things if you've done that initial client discovery call, right? So you're going to find out what they do for a job, whether they go on the computer, do they blah 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 blah, and you
yeah.
capture all that information, and then that builds a story of your pre-start essentially.
Exactly. So a pre-start meeting has like a flow. What I always say, even in my training, pre-start meeting, it starts with the floor plan. It should be divided this way. It should be flowing this way. I don't know how people do it, but this is how I do it. We start with your working drawings.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
start with your working drawings. You need to understand your working drawings. So I walk you through the house. I even walk you through the site plan, because are you going to have a pool in the future? Okay, then your soap wells are not in the right place, so we're going to move that. And then we go into the elevations. You've got a window here. This is the side that this window opens. Oh, that's what this means. Yes, this is what this is. It's an awning window. Oh, I didn't think it was. Like, it's things that you need to go through. So we go through the working drawings. Old school days, that's how everybody used to do pre-start. Nowadays, it's just get in, pick a color out, which is
Pretty
wrong.
much.
So you do the working drawings. The client is confident. The client understands their home. And you're not going to have an unhappy client in construction who didn't want an awning window, and all of a sudden there's an awning window instead of a sliding window. Do you know, like those kind of things?
100%.
By doing that, we save money for the builder. You're not going to have overhead issues in construction where you're fixing errors and going through emails because I sent an email on this day and nobody picked this up, So we go through the drawings, we're all happy. And then we go to the next stage, which is I like doing externals. So we start doing your overall externals. Then now we go materials, colors, placement of future garden taps, everything, pools. And then from externals, we go into room layouts. So room layouts, your bathrooms, your ensuite, your toilets, your cabinetry, every single thing. I want you to understand what door, oh, that's another client calling, my bad.
Bleep that bit out. It's not good.
So then we go into the layout. You understand what a room layout is. You can think about your dimensions. You think about, I even go through the height of your vanity, because sometimes I'll see a client is really tall or really short, and I'll go, hey, I think there's a problem here.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I get them to stand up if they're talking about like having a ledge or a niche in the shower. I'm like, stand up, let's see. So this is the right height for you. This is where you need, I had a client once who we were going through this, and she just cracked up laughing, and her husband started laughing. I said, what are you laughing at? And they're like, the house we live in now, because the husband is really tall. That's what made me, and she's short. And then she says every time she sits on the toilet, she can't reach the toilet roll holder, because when they built the house, the husband was the one who was like, just put it here, using his length, and she has to get up to get to the toilet. So so we saved a marriage there just by going through details.
Well, you put your toilet roll holder, exactly.
Yeah, 100%, you know. So once we go through the layouts is when then we start going into our cabinetry design. And again, it depends on if the builder has said to me, look, they're really big on cabinetry. They have no idea it's very important. Or if you said to me and you're the builder, look, cabinetry is locked in. Don't even mention anything because we've spent a lot of time developing it. I'm not going to, you know, start doing that. But it's just so that they're happy with it, go through it, then selections, tiles, appliances. Then right at the end, we do electrical, which is now I actually take the floor plan and I draw in the furniture to scale. I'll say, you know, do you have any piece of furniture in your home now that you're going to keep? So usually someone will say, oh my God, yes, my dining table, you know, always had it. I can't lose it. We're going to keep it, right? No problem. Make sure it fits. Where are you going to have pendant lights above it? Yeah. All right. So this is, then we draw it to scale. Then we position the pendant lights. Just if you need to do that. So that's the electrical. And then we just wrap it up at the end where it's like Q&A. So then I just gave them an opportunity to go through their whole list. Is there anything I missed? And it's a wrap. So you can see that there's no way if you're going to do pre-start in this much detail, you're going to do it in 3. It's not. So
not correctly.
Yeah, not correctly. No. So that's why electrical is important. It also includes things like smart wiring. I go into smart wiring, kind of asking things like, are you gonna have wall-mounted TV? All right, we need a conduit here. Are you thinking of doing any electrical work in the future? Okay, let's put a junction box here. It's about like beyond just where's your power point.
Future-proofing it. Mate, that's really good. So it sounds like an intense process, but obviously just by your personality that I'm picking up, it's going to be quite fun. It's bubbly, but you actually care. That's the point of difference that I'm getting. So that's amazing. That's a huge difference. I mean, you know, personally, with my previous company, it would be I could do so much for the client to build them their house, but pre-start was taken away from me. That would always go to the in-house pre-start consultant. But I would go and attend, and then I would just listen sometimes. Go.
Yeah. I think it comes down to knowledge and passion.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people who just were like, oh, I didn't want to work at a daycare center anymore, so I applied for this and I got it.
Yeah.
I'll fake it till I make it.
It's so true. It's so true. No, look, that's amazing. So look, what I want to ask now, how do people get in touch with you? What's the best way to get in contact?
Best way to get in contact is, well, number one, Instagram. Hi, Instagram. At the Pre-Start Studio, or send me an email, hello@theprestartstudio.com.au. If you're a builder as well, I'm on LinkedIn if you use LinkedIn, the Pre-Start Studio, or again, send me an email. It will be easier. But I always tell my clients to just stalk me on Instagram first. And if you like me, then DM me.
That's how I found you, if I'm being honest. That's how I found you. But now I'm watching your Friday at Home podcast. I give that a big shout out. That's quite fun. Relaxed.
Yes, absolutely. I encourage all my listeners to join me every Friday with a glass of wine or coffee, as long as, you know, you're not driving. And then we just sort of like, I bring in a lot of my personal belief in design and architecture. I give a lot of tips in designing the most perfect home to suit your lifestyle and your family needs. So it's a lot of, it brings to light the psychological nature of design and how it's actually connected to, I mean, it's called a habitat. A home is called a habitat. So your habits have to be the focus of you designing a habitat. So that's sort of like my approach to design all the time.
I think you've used that line a few times, haven't you? That's not just off the cuff, that habitat one. That's good.
I love it. That's my line.
I'm going to steal it. No, look, honestly,
don't steal it.
I'm going to steal it, 100% I'm going to steal it. Look, I'll put all your socials and stuff like that in the captions. People will check you out. Hopefully you'll grow a few more followers. I would love to do another one with you on your podcast. Let's share. Yes. Really, thank you so much for coming on. I've learned so much. I'm a builder, and I've just learned more about pre-start than what I knew half an hour ago.
Yeah, so
which is
this
great.
shows you that all your future clients need to come to me,
Oh, for sure, yeah, for sure.
right?
Because
I would
anyone
love
building
to have you.
that,
I would love to have you on Fridays at home. And the whole thing is, if it's for me and you, Fridays at home interviews have to happen in person. We've got to
yeah,
have a beer or a glass of wine, and I encourage my guests to welcome me into their most favorite room in their home.
okay,
So
okay.
if it's your fresco, if it's your kitchen, it's a very casual podcast, and we'll have a chat in your favorite room in your home so that, your viewers, your followers can get to know you.
From my home. I would love that. I think I can manage that. I think I can manage that.
Yeah, but you have to cook. You have to cook. I'll bring the drinks. You cook.
That's no problem, mate. That's no problem at all. Let's do it. Let's do that in the next month or so, right? Deal.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you so much, Chris. I've enjoyed having a chat with you. It's been amazing.
Easy, no problem. Thank you so much. Now, thanks everyone for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, join the channel, and follow Bees all of her socials. She's the best. Thank you, team. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.